Huzzah! I'm Spider, and welcome to the Jacks Rangers and New England Free Jacks podcast. And here is your host, Phil Harris. Yeah!
Huzzah, Rangers. This is Phil Harris again here at the Jacks Rangers show. I've got Dave joining me once again. And of course, we've got the performance director of the Free Jacks, Tom Kindley, joining back-to-back episodes here for episode 15. He is back. Tom, how the hell are you?
Yeah, no, great. Thanks, gents. Excited to be back and, get your take on the draft. And I'm very interested to hear your thoughts on it all. So, yeah, good to be back.
I'll be asking the questions here. Just kidding.
I know we're on the spot now.
Yeah.
How good our scouting is.
So let's jump right into it here. Let's talk about the draft that took place last week. The Free Jacks had 3 picks in this year's MLR draft. Let me see here. Were there any other teams that were coming in, TK, trying to, trade with you? Also, is there a war room? And if so, what does it look like?
Yeah, good questions. Maybe start with the war room. The war room is pretty barren. We're just because we're currently in the process of moving out of our current location in Newton, which actually you've both been to. Mm-hmm. And heading down to closer to Quincy in the very near future. So I was in the back office there, making sure the Wi-Fi connection was good. And Brandon Sparks, probably the Americans that know the traditional draft lay of the land better than us foreigners. So they were making calls. There were trades made for salary cap. There were to flip flop spots. No, we didn't have any calls as to this time round. Although there are lots of conversations before that go on as to what people might be looking to do and stuff like that. So no, really fun. It's a really fun experience, to be honest. It's a very cool. I know all the GMs really look forward to it and on the phone, enjoying themselves after and recounting stories. So yeah, it was good fun.
Awesome,
excellent.
Go ahead.
Yeah, how I know there's been a lot of talk and some successful teams have had a lot of success around trading with other teams for the foreign player roster spots. Do those factor into your draft strategy? As far as I know, we didn't do any maneuvering like that. To me, those seem like a really precious resource. And unless you have like a really robust academy program already in effect, you would want to hold on to those. But I was curious what your strategy was for there.
Yeah, no, that's a really good question. So, every team, as you'll be aware, has 10 initially at the beginning of the year. They'll have 10 foreign spots in a match day 23. So the ability to have 10 foreigners in their 23 heading into the weekend. And teams that come into the league later on, just because the domestic market is so saturated, the North American players that are quality players are typically already contracted. Like by the time when we came in, there were a lot of players already contracted around the league when the Free Jacks came about and came into the league in 2020. So we felt like we needed an extra foreign spot just to help us out because we felt as though we'd basically exhausted the local depth, and just to give us a little bit of a competitive advantage. And obviously LA this did for. So at the moment now, like we've been lucky to pick up a couple of players like Joe Johnson, Harry Barlow, guys that are US eligible, which definitely helps as well. And we've had guys come into the fray and put their hand up, like Cam Davidowitz from Mystic River. And I think now, as we bring in a coach for 12 months of the year, like Dave alluded to, and having the ability to develop players and create for those positions will be a game changer. Need that extra spot. So we're kind of in limbo now. We've been talking about potentially trading for another foreign spot, or maybe not this year. Some teams do really well, like New Orleans have 8, and they're investing a lot more in their domestic playing base, but they've been around for a long time too. So yeah.
All right. So
very interesting. Thank you.
Yeah. My connection is a little bit unstable here, guys. But I wanted to say, let's jump right into the MLR draft picks. So Kale Hodgson, aka Snail, aka Hodge, out of Linwood, was selected 8th overall in the first round. What did you like about Kale? What are his upsides, and how can he improve this team?
Kale Hodgson. So Kale was actually at the Rugby Showcase. I went down to Connecticut. It was a great event that HPM put on down in Connecticut at Staples High School, and I think there were 6 MLR teams or representatives of those teams there. I saw Kale for the first time there. I hadn't come across him before. I didn't know who he was. He's a big unit. Is the first thing you notice when you look at Kale. Like, he's 6'2". He looks like, he could be out there playing Major League Rugby. At the moment, and I know we're running through, and he was one of the better performers with that. And I think outside back is we're limited in our outside back depth, so it was definitely a place we wanted to add, building on from 2021. So that was definitely an area of focus for us, and it's a position where you need to know you need to know the game. It's not so easy to come in at a high level. Your backfield space, you've got to be able to kick the ball, you've got to be able to communicate, you've got to be able to manipulate, control a defense, all those different things. It's very difficult to do. So a guy like Kale coming out of a strong program like Lindenwood, I spoke to Josh Macy, the head coach, who's a good friend of mine, and a great deal of depth about him, and I felt like he could add a lot of value from the get-go to our roster. I think areas for him to improve is going to be his kicking game and his ability to distribute the ball, like a lot of players that come into the league. But he's definitely there in terms of physicality, and he's got a big frame. He can even grow into it even more. So, yeah, we're definitely pumped to have Kale on board, and he's really excited to get into Boston. So I think the next kind of 2 to 4 weeks, he'll probably make the move over and immerse into the club rugby scene and get his roots down in Boston, which will be really cool.
That's awesome. Yeah. I've had a chance to interview all of these lads. They're fantastic. This next guy, I really enjoyed talking. I mean, I enjoyed talking to all of them, right? But Anthony he's a character, man. I really enjoyed talking to him. So Anthony Adamczyk, aka Big Tony, aka T-Mobile, out of Penn State, was selected 21st overall in the second round. What did you like about Anthony? What are his upsides? How can he improve this team? So that's going to be the questions for all these guys.
Yeah, no, good question. So, I like you alluded. He wanted to be in Boston. He wanted to play for the Free Jacks. He's obviously a New England local. He was born and bred in Connecticut. And then now he's working currently in Massachusetts, having graduated in the middle of the year. So obviously he's a prop. We do have a good amount of depth in our propping stocks, but you can never have too much depth up front. So yeah, he's a player that we wanted to get into the system and invest in and give good coaching and, potentially someone that could be pushing some of our guys who have proven themselves over the last few years. And that's what we need. We need good competition across the board. So when a good prop and the local prop like that comes up and really wants to be here, then there's no other option but to bring him in. So Anthony, he's coming in on Thursday for the first time to meet the staff, so that'd be really exciting for him.
That's great. I'm excited for you guys. You can never pass on a prop with a lot of upside. You always need depth there, and for some reason they're always characters, right? Like the props are always pushing the envelope of performance art, on and off the field.
That's right. Eagle have a wee
bit. It's good to see this guy leans in.
Yeah. I was just saying, Eagle's going to have a wee bit of competition.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. Like you said, you got to keep looking up. Great stuff.
So the last but not least, we've got Zach Bastrous, a.k.a. White Lightning, a.k.a. Captain America, out of the University of Northern Colorado. He was selected 34th overall in the third round. What do you like about Zach? What are his upsides, and how can he improve this team?
Yeah, so Zach was one. We were kind of a little bit concerned that we might get to the third round and there wasn't someone that we were genuinely comfortable putting into our environment. Or we felt as though like there may not be anyone who was going to add value at that point in the draft. Because it's 39 players, it's a big step up, and with 150 entered, there wasn't necessarily that guarantee. But so we did a bit of research into obviously all the players. We looked at every single player, but a few kind of odd ones that we kind of liked the look of for whatever reason. And Zach Bastrous was a guy. So the U23 staff, or the USA kind of pathway staff, went around and held these combines in different locations. So they went to Seattle, Colorado. They went all around. They went to Hawaii, and Zach was one that just stood out as a freak athletically to the staff. I think he had the best 40-meter time. He's the fastest player, and he's since been involved in the U23. They brought him into the USA U23 setup, where he's going to be. He's actually in a 9-week training block that's commencing, I believe, if not today, yesterday, in Colorado. So just a player that Todd Thornley, the U23 head coach, spoke super highly of. Obviously, he's a freak athlete. He's got heaps of potential, and I think for him, it'll just be a matter of getting him in the environment, and I think he'll make leaps and bounds pretty quickly. So, yeah, and some more outside back depth too, Dave. So we're definitely happy about that.
Yeah, great stuff.
Yeah, go ahead.
It just sounds like a really, really fantastic third-round pick. I'd say pat yourselves on the back for that. A guy who's involved in the U23 program, and to be able to pick him up 34th is pretty impressive that he was still there. So great job identifying those guys. We kind of already hit on this, but do any of these guys have a chance to rival Justin Johnson's new role as apparently the Free Jacks backstage video host? I don't know who decided to give him the social media login info, but it was brilliant. I don't know if you've seen the videos that Pago Haini's done out of LA. He does kind of similar thing where it's just like him and on his cell phone backstage, like with a water bottle, interviewing players after the matches and stuff. And it seems like JJ is really, on his way, very comfortable in that environment.
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed that as well. Backstage look at the rugby towns. And so we had obviously our owner David Barry. He owns and manages the Jesters, the Rambling Jesters, that touring side. So we had obviously Dougie and Mitch and Jackson and Aidan Barry, who had spent some time with us in that team. I thought Justin did a very good job. So yeah, he may have a future and presenting.
Yeah, up in the producer booth.
Exactly. Yeah. But no, let me ask you guys, what did you think of the draft? Were you guys happy with how it all went? And what was what did you think the tactics were going to be going into it? And was there anything that surprised you, and or was it kind of status quo?
It was, speaking for myself, it was kind of tough to have very many expectations or predictions. I think that it's neat to combine like a very American college draft idea with, rugby, just something you don't see a lot. So it's cool to see it working, but because it's a little bit unprecedented, I mean, there've been drafts before now, but as like a fairly newly minted Free Jacks and MLR fan, I'm starting to get into it more. So it's hard to know what to expect, but I thought that it was very positive. I liked the breakup of players that we got. I could see that outside back focus makes sense. I mean, I'm definitely biased, but I love the charismatic dance champion prop pickup. I mean, that's fantastic. They all seem really good. Like excellent, strategic picks to me. I don't know.
Yeah.
Phil, what you think?
Yeah, I've watched the highlights of all of these guys, and obviously Kale is phenomenal, but you would expect that from an 8th round pick in the first round. Like, you're expecting him to be really good. Anthony, same thing in the second round there. But I mean, I think we've found somebody here in Zach. I mean, this kid, if you're watching his highlight video, he runs a 4.40, I think is what it says in there, and it really shows on the pitch, man. I don't know what competition he was playing. I mean, he was playing at University of Northern Colorado, so I'm not sure who the other teams were that he was playing. But I mean, he was just blowing past those guys. So I understand where he gets the nickname White Lightning from. The dude is unbelievably fast. I mean, he is quick. He is rapid. So I think, to get him in the third round at 34 overall is a steal. If he can come in and, be a substitute or something like that and come in the second half and just blow past people, you've got yourself an amazing player there, a diamond in the rough, if you will. So I think it's a great draft overall. Who knows what the future holds with these guys, but I'm pretty excited about it.
Yeah. And fans who may not know, the rugby landscape in college in the United States, the college rugby landscape is very fragmented, and it can be difficult to see parity. It's not like one neat top-down structure like you might think of with NCAA football. So fans should just know that it's a lot of work to scout all these guys and to compare them. It's really difficult to look at people across programs and competitions and know what level everybody is at. It's difficult within a competition to do that scouting and to know that. So when all the teams are playing, different teams and different schedules, it's really tough. So nice work. It looks like you guys really did your homework.
Yeah, congrats with that. Let's kind of shift away from the MLR draft here. Has the salary cap gone up or down in the upcoming year?
The salary cap is essentially staying as is heading into 2022. It would certainly make my job a lot easier if it went up, but sadly, not to be, not yet.
Okay. So in the last episode of the Outriders segment, we came up with some dream signings, and I wanted it to be a little bit realistic, right? I mean, we're not going to pull Dan Carter out of retirement to come play for the Free Jacks. I mean, unless you know something that we don't know. I'm going to list these off of who we said would be our dream signings. And if you could cough really loudly if you've been in contact with these players or their agents, we would appreciate it very much. So my dream signing was Danny Kerr or Joe Marler from the Harlequins. So I'm going to wait here for a second. Okay, silence. Silence. All right. Ted was CJ Stander, which is an Irish lad there. Okay, so no response. All right. Dave was Richie Gray, the lock from Scotland. All right, no sounds there. And Chris was just, nobody big, just Alan Wynne Jones.
You might have heard of him. I don't know. I guess he plays for Wales.
Yeah, some Welsh guy. I don't know.
Yeah,
right.
No big deal.
So,
yeah. So TK, to kind of turn it around on you, if you want to take off your performance director hat and put on just like Free Jacks fan hat, what would your dream signing be? Like, it could be a current player, but also, for us, it's kind of old favorites, or maybe somebody who you thought was a little underappreciated from your history as like a rugby fan, so a player that would be a dream signing for you.
Yeah, well, I guess I always thought that, I actually thought I wouldn't have been surprised if we actually did see Dan Carter in the league, because, he'd gone back and played that little bit of Super Rugby, although he actually didn't get on the field there after Japan. And I thought, he'd probably have a similar impact to the likes of a Matt Gateau. So, no, he was one that definitely sort of I had contemplated. One we did reach out to was Devin Toner. If you guys are familiar with.
Sure.
Yeah. Irish
Toner's
lock, right?
Irish lock. He's about 6'11".
Yeah.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah. That was my Richie Gray line as well. I was like, this guy's taller than God. Yeah. I mean, what else do you want? Just put him in the line out, and he doesn't even have to jump.
Right.
Yeah. So we are going to be adding a good line out forward this year. So Dev Toner did come to mind as someone who potentially might be interested in coming over and might add a lot of value. But and how good would he go down to with the Boston crowd? With the Irish roots and heritage here. So. Sadly, he's got one more year with Leinster, which is incredible that he's still playing at that level and competing at that level. But that was one that we did consider. Yeah, we're not really a team that, I think just with just touched on the resources with the salary cap and stuff like it. For us, we've kind of built ourselves around like parity and bringing in a bunch of guys who are all on a level playing field and all want to play for each other. And, I just hadn't seen a huge amount of value in bringing in that star who's living a different life to everyone else and that sort of thing. Not to say it won't happen, who knows, but yeah, to date, we haven't. But I do like those options. There's some great options. Joe Marler's surely nearly done with Harlequins. Like, he'd be a good.
That'd be unbelievable.
Danny Kerr. Yeah.
So I did speak with Mags during the, what is that called? The Eagle-Eyed podcast, whatever they do on Clubhouse, and he wouldn't give me any information. So he shut me down big time. I was asking him like, hey, Mags, who we bringing in? Who's the head turner signing? And it's like, I'm not going to tell you. And I'm like, all right, thanks, Mags. Appreciate it. So let's see. What else we got here? On the last episode, you mentioned John Poland, Eric DeJager, Josh Larson, and Quinton Newcomer as players that fans could expect back next year. Do you want to expand that list at this point? Is there anybody that you feel good about?
Yeah, I think that that's probably the best way to go about it is so we're planning on, we've got a head coach and now assistant coach in place. It'll be the first time we've brought in a full-time assistant, which is really exciting. They're both from different countries across the world, just as a little clue. So at the announcement date currently is looking like it's going to be September 16th, just to be respectful of their current work obligations.
Okay.
So yeah, come then we'll announce all our sort of returning players and then our new signings after that. But obviously, yeah, they'll have some insight into the roster and stuff like that. But yeah, we can definitely still expect, the 60 or 70% of the roster to remain the same, which would be really cool.
Fair enough. So, you're mentioning the exact date here about when we should expect certain things happening or the wheels in motion here. So I wanted to ask, have you spoken with the head coach about the extra responsibilities that he may or may not have as the head coach of the Free Jacks in terms of, moving players' couches around like Muscle Man did last year? Is that in the contract?
That's brilliant. Yeah, no, he's still complaining about it. He's back in New Zealand and he still calls me up to say, I can't believe you made me do that. No, I think we've definitely got the right fit and a head coach who's, once you find out a bit more about his current role, you'll probably put two and two together and it'll be pretty cool. Because yeah, he's not afraid of kind of getting his hands dirty, and that's something that's so important in this league. You've got to be prepared to really go to war for 6 or 7 months, or even longer than that, really, to look after your players and make sure that they're, fully prepared each week. So, but as for the couches, I haven't specifically run that by him, so I might have you do that for me, Phil.
All right, cool. Yeah.
There you go.
We'd love to talk to him once he's announced. I actually know who
Absolutely.
he is. I've got inside information within the Free Jacks organization. So, I will tell that story right now. So last weekend I was up in the White Mountains hiking, and I took a little tumble and I hit my head. So when I woke up, guess who was standing over me, willing to give aid? Big Blue, we call him Woodgie around here. So the Jack Squatch, helped me up, and I was like, hey man, I'm wondering who the new head coach is, and he can speak perfect English. I don't know if you guys know this, and he told me who it was. It's actually Ryan Martin's twin brother. His name is Brian, but he doesn't have a mustache. So I just want to let everybody know in the Jacks Rangers universe out there, any Rangers, it's actually Ryan Martin's twin brother. No mustache, but that's the new head coach. So I've got all
pulling double duty.
I need, yeah.
I like it.
That was a great.
That's a new work trend apparently with work from home. You just get 2 jobs and do a bad job at both of them. So
exactly. Yeah.
I don't think we can expect that. I like the idea of Woodgie revealing coach inside secrets in the woods, in the White Mountains, though. That's where you got to go. If you want to know, just, head up to northern New England, almost die on top of a mountain, and you too can find out 3 weeks early.
I think we're just giving them content at this point to film, for later on when the announcement takes place. So you can give us credit for that. We'd appreciate it.
No, you are onto something. I like the idea of it.
Right.
Emerges from a snowy cave up
There you
in
go.
the White Mountains.
Love that.
That'd be amazing.
Well, Tom, that's going to wrap her up, my friend. Anything before we jump off here that you want to reveal?
No, we've just got a lot of work to do over the next, obviously, putting the right playing group in place, and then moving all the facilities down to Quincy and sourcing our player apartments and stuff. So we're really excited to be down there. It's actually been amazing. The few times we've been down to Quincy, the amount of people that have heard about the Free Jacks. So no, we're excited to begin to activate and get our academy stuff rolling again, and really appreciate the hard work you guys are doing to keep the momentum going, because it's not a long off season. It's actually, what are we now, August? So September, October, November, December, we'll have players beginning in December. So that's only 4 months, which is kind of scary.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's wild. Well, we'll be here. We'll be full of questions and entirely too interested in their day-to-day lives and what you guys are doing. So we can't wait.
Hey, it's
brilliant.
It's the silly season, man. Anything can happen, So we're going to be out here putting out graphics and just trying to keep people interested. So we appreciate what you do, Tom. And yeah, this has been awesome. Thank you for doing this again.
No, of course. Thanks, guys. Really appreciate it.
All right. 1, 2, 3. Let's ride.
Let's ride.
Let's ride.
Huzzah. See you guys.
Bye.
Cheers.
Sweet.